Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Jonathan with Project Northeast, MTB. And we're out here in beautiful Vermont at Suicide 6 Resort. And we're out here testing the brand new, fully revamped 2022 Trek Top Fuel. These are the Top Fuel 8 XTs. They're pretty well spec'd for the price. The retail is $37.99. We're gonna do a review on this specific build because that's what we have available to review. But in general, we're gonna give you the overall specs of this in the ride characteristics of the overall line of the Top Fuels because it's brand new for 2022. I have a 2021 that I have been riding, and I redid kind of basically everything I did on my Top Fuel in 2021. Trek did for 2022, which I'm so stoked about, and I can't wait to ride it. So I'm gonna start off with just first ride impressions. We're gonna go down and do some downhill flow. Check out Ryan's channel, Live Free and Shred. I'll leave a link at the top or a flag at the top. You can see his independent thoughts on it. And then we'll get together at the end, discuss it, see what we both think, what we like, what we don't like about overall the revamp and this model. And then, but first we're going to start with first ride impressions. We haven't ridden these bikes at all yet. You're going to see firsthand how we react to them on our first downhill on them. So let's get to it. All right, we're dropping in, going down Avery's Interstate, which is a blue flow trail. Should give us a good impression of these bikes going down a fast blue flow trail. Not quite used to this bike yet, so I'm going to be a little timid on this lap. So far climbing up, I've really enjoyed it. Little step up here. Woo! Woo! This bike is super nimble, super fun. Like I was saying, I think it's basically everything that I wanted them to do on the 2021, and then I kind of did myself. And they slackened it up a little bit. So the numbers on this bike are 66 in low. These are set in low from the factory. 66 degrees, 76 degree seat angle. I noticed that immediately versus my 2021. That seated, it just climbs better. Like when you get onto the steeper sections, you can feel the seat angle being a lot. Woo! It's a little steeper and it gives you that better pedaling platform. Man, these trails are sick. Haha! Yeah! Love that double. This bike keeps impressing me more and more. Go right over, go down, woohoo! Get some jank. So this bike is spec'd with a 120 mil SID, and it's 120 mil front and back now from the factory, which gives it a 66 degree head angle and low, like I said last lap. And man, just a lot of fun on these trails. Like I was saying, with the introduction of this bike going to 120, 120, I think might see, oh, that's big, them come out with a 100mm bike in not too distant future. That's just my assumption based on, you know, what they've got for bikes right now, and then this bike being boosted up to 120. Woo! I think you'll see that coming out in the near future. Man, these bikes hold up well though to that.
Yeah, I think
feels really good.
I hit the bottom. I could probably mess with tokens a little bit, but I'm pretty impressed with, I mean, we're riding downhill on like downcountry bikes.
Yeah. Taking another lap down Avery's Interstate. So I didn't tell you guys my setup on this bike yet. I'm running 140 PSI in the rear, 69 front fork, gives me about 25% sag, and I'm running 25 PSI front, 27 PSI in the rear for pressure on the tires. Oh yeah, cleared it that time. Oh yeah, now that I knew where that route was. Woo! This trail's sick. Bike is sick. Ah, I love this section. So yeah, I think this bike is no longer in the cross-country category, which is probably gonna tick some people off, but other people like me will rejoice because holy crap, this is the bike I've been waiting for. Super efficient, like trail brawler that I could put a 134th on and have a 65.5 degree 120 mil, 131 front, 120 rear, absolute trail shredder. Now that I'm used to this bike, I am definitely going to probably sell my 2021 and woo, go with one of these because it's everything I wanted my 2021 to be. Oh! Woo! Oh my gosh! Yeah! Oh! Following Ryan this time. Now that he knows the trail, just popping off everything. Bike's so playful, efficient, and honestly, for an aluminum bike, which the XP is, it does not feel heavy. And like I said before, it feels super efficient climbing. Like, I was in the minus mode on the Super Deluxe and also full open, and I was not like feeling any pedal movement. Whew.
Gets better the more I ride it.
It does, doesn't it?
The bike gets better. Now that I know the trail.
That bike gets better. That trail is just awesome.
Now that I know the trail, I'm liking the bike more.
Same.
Because I know where to push it and where I have to back off.
All right, we're at a different venue. Decided to do a trail that we both know pretty well. Just to give you a little bit more look and continue talking about the bike a little bit more. I've kind of covered pretty much everything except the actual spec of this bike and what I think of the 8 aluminum frame XT, which so far for the value, $37.99, I think it's pretty good. I mean, like anything, almost $4,000 retail for a bike, you know, and you're getting an aluminum frame, which is not far off most bikes these days, but everything is performed really well. I like the XT. Woo! That's such a good hit. So like I was saying, the spec on this bike is pretty good. SLX crank, XT derailleur, shifter. I think it's got the lower end brakes. Doesn't have SLX brakes or anything, but they've broken in nicely. They feel pretty good. Woo! Straight line that one. They are 4-piston, but so they do feel pretty good still. Little road gap right here. Woo, baby! Wow. I mean, doing all this stuff on a top fuel, it's just, the confidence is just insane. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Ah! You're gonna need a lawyer for that one. Yeah, this run's just for fun because we love these trails so much. And these bikes are so freaking good. Woo, baby! Tell me down in the comments if you'd like me to do a complete comparison between the 2021 and the 2022. Let me know what you think, like a side-by-side comparison. Whoa! Love that! Oh, sorry, that was probably really loud, but that was so sick. So is this, and so is this. Dirt surfing. Oh, I'm starting to get a quad cramp now. All right, now that we've ridden this bike and had a lot of fun on it, let's check out what the Trek Top Fuel 8 has, specifically for specs and stuff like that. You'll be able to see it all on the website, but let's just talk about more like what this bike is in and of itself. So here is the Trek Top Fuel 2022. It's a medium large. Chainstay length is 435. The top tube length on a medium large is 615 and low. Head angle of this bike with a 120 fork is 66 degrees, and the seat angle in low is 76. If you bump that in high, everything goes up by 0.4. So the seat angle would be 76.4 and the head angle will be 66.4. And it raises the bottom bracket, I'm assuming, but I did not get that specific information. But let's go over what this has for a spec. It has the XT 12 speed, has SLX crankset, but it has an XT cassette and an XT 12 speed rear derailleur, and it also comes with an XT 12 speed shifter. Now the brakes themselves, they aren't XT. I don't even think they're SLX, to be honest, but they are 4-piston style brakes. So they do have pretty decent stopping power to them. Once they broke in, I did not have a problem stopping at all, especially for a 120mm bike. It comes with aluminum bars, comes with the Bontrager Line Comp 30 wheels, which are aluminum, and it does come with the 54 tooth engagement hub. It does not come with the 108 rapid drive, but I think that is pretty much upgradable very easily. For the rear shock, you've got a RockShox Deluxe Ultimate, which I found to be very, very good for everything that you want this bike to do. It comes with Bontrager XR4 team issue tires, 2.4 front and rear. The best thing about this bike for 2022 is they added the in-frame storage, just like the Fuel EX and the Slash, which is absolutely awesome. It does come with the Gen 2 knock block, so it still has knock block in there, So it still keeps you from over rotating, but you do not need it anymore because the fork stanchion will not touch the frame. Unlike previous years, it would. It's a Bontrager line comp dropper post, but it does come with the regular lever, and it is a 34.9 post, I believe, for this year. One thing I did forget to mention is that it does come with 35 millimeter bars and stems, so if you did want to save a little weight, upgrade to carbon bars, you have a 35 millimeter stem already. So that's the bike in and of itself in a nutshell. It does have a threaded bottom bracket, which is awesome, and it also has two ISCG tabs on the bottom if you want to add a chain guide of some sort or a bash guard. The flip chip is right here, which would tell you to flip it so you can go high or low. These bikes are shipped in low, I believe, so we were riding them in low on our test. We just got back from Vermont, and we wanted to just give you guys some final thoughts on what we thought of the bike and compared to what we're riding now. I'm riding a 2021 Trek Top Fuel, and Ryan?
I'm riding a 2021 Fuel EX. I ride a medium, and I rode a medium large Top Fuel.
So I ride a medium large Top Fuel now, but it's the 2021, and they totally revamped it for this year. And I guess the question is, you know, for me, it's exactly what I wanted my 2021 to be, but I wasn't racing, my aim wasn't racing cross country. It wasn't like, it was just having a short travel bike that was, you know, fun to ride everywhere on our local trails in southern New Hampshire. You know, if you're racing, like doing marathon racing or something like that, the 2021 may be better for you.
Probably.
Maybe look for a used one or a new leftover, if there's such a thing anymore. So basically for you, you've already got kind of like this bike with 10 millimeters more suspension.
Yeah, so Fuel EX is 130 in the back and 140 in the front. Technically, I could put my fork at 130 and put the minnow link in low, and I pretty much have an over-forked Top Fuel.
Yeah, so I guess for you, it's like you keep what you have.
Doesn't really make a ton of sense for me to wait 6 months for a new bike.
Yeah, for me, I've got mine rigged up with 130. I've got my 2021 Top Fuel rigged up with like a 130 fork. With that being said, I'm going to probably keep my Top Fuel for now, ride it. It's a great bike. I love the 2021. It does everything I want.
I mean, we're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah, but I mean, the 120, having this upgraded to 120 just makes it, you know, a little bit more trail for me. Having the in-frame storage is like another plus. So the geometry numbers and the changes that they did to the bike, plus add the, you know, the version 2 of the knock block and the in-frame storage, and kind of makes it worth it for me to buy this bike. What didn't we like about this bike? Is there anything we didn't like?
I don't really have any big complaints. Like the fork maybe could use like a little bit better damper, but I mean, again, like it worked great for what we were doing.
Yeah, I had no complaints about the sit. I thought, you know, doing some drops and jumps and riding it on some high-speed terrain that maybe I would bottom it out. And neither, I mean, I bottomed the rear suspension out, but it didn't really feel harsh. And honestly, I can't think of much that we didn't touch on, but the only thing that I would like is that I would want my trail bike to be a lot lighter than this bike, but I would be looking at a custom build anyway. This is an XT version, which is, have no complaints about the XT, it was great.
I think a lot of the weight you're feeling is from the aluminum frame and the aluminum wheels.
Yeah, so I mean,
it still has an ultimate shock on it, which this shock is great. Same thing as the one on the Slash. It has the 3 compression settings, and I ran it in minus all day, didn't touch the lockout. Bike climbed great, was good in the bumps, it was super compliant, really good on the small chattery stuff.
I felt this bike climbed, like even, it maybe climbed better than my Top Fuel. Maybe because I have some funky geometry things going on with it.
It climbed
where I
better than
slackened the C-tube out, doing my slacking out the head angle. I may have slacked the C-tube out, so that's something I noticed immediately when I started climbing was, wow, I feel like I'm really able to get right over the pedals with this steep C-tube angle.
I felt that too, in 76 degrees or 75 degrees, whatever it is. I have my fuel in high, which is basically what this is, and it definitely climbs better than my fuel because I have a Super Deluxe Ultimate on there with the piggyback.
Yeah.
Even with the lockout on, this climbs better. I think it's just the kinematics of the bike itself, not so much the suspension, not so much the shock.
Yeah, so I mean, on this build, you know, the XT, it is an aluminum frame. It is a little bit heavy for a 120 mil trail bike, but it's also pretty capable, I guess, too. If you're looking for a new trail bike that you want fast, snappy, capable trail bike, and you just want a trail ripper, I think this is kind of right up your alley.
I would agree. I think it's almost blurring the line for Fuel EX now. I'm like, if I had to pick between the two, I would have a real tough time picking one.
Yeah,
I'm glad I have one already.
I think this kind of goes into the downcountry category, which everybody hates to say now that there's another category, but I mean, it kind of does. You slap a 130 fork on this bike and it's 65.5 degrees, which is really slack, which is like slacker than most enduro bikes were like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think this bike is going to directly compete with bikes like the Transition, is it the Spur?
Yep, the Spur, probably something like the Ibis Ripley.
This is going to be a direct comparison to those, and it's going to be a Trek bike, so you know you're going to get a good bike, good solid bike, but you're also going to get that in-frame storage, which for me, on a trail ride,
I can never go back. Well, I have the in-frame storage on my fuel and on my slash. I don't wear a pack.
I miss it on my top fuel.
The only time
I have it on
I
my slash, but not on my top fuel, and that's why I like this bike.
The only time I ever wear a pack is if I know I'm going for like a 5-hour ride and I need 2 bottles. That's the only time I ever wear a pack.
So yeah, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and follow along. And if you're looking for a new bike, I'm sold.
This might be the next one.
On the scale, any guesses?